Hello, I'm Dr. Chuck Jarrell, and we're here today to talk for the next few minutes about a pro forma P&L statement. Kind of a long term, but we'll break it down and see what it means here in just a moment. So, in addition to what does it mean, we're also going to talk about how we do it. So, what is a pro forma P&L statement? Let's start out with the P&L. If you remember from accounting, P&L means profit and loss. So a P&L statement is a fundamental accounting record of sales and expenses during a particular period of operation of a business. If you'll remember, sales minus expenses equals profit, or a loss if the expenses, the costs, exceed the revenues, the sales. So what about this thing called pro forma? Well, pro forma is from the Latin, and it means as a matter of form or a matter of practice. And so what this is a statement that is a matter of form. It's a before the fact estimate of what we expect our sales, our expenses, and our profits to be. How do we make a pro forma P&L statement? Well, we start out with revenues. So we start with a sales forecast. And that's a prediction of future sales during a future time period. It could be several quarters, it could be months, it could be years. In addition to the sales forecast, though, we have to estimate our expenses. What are the costs that are necessary to achieve the sales forecast? Those could be costs of goods. They could be marketing and administrative costs, and they could be one-time expenses that are not related to the day-to-day operation of the business, but are still important to achieve our overall result. Those could be R&D expenses. They could be new store opening expenses. They could be the costs of borrowing money. The third element then is the profit. It's the revenue minus the expense. And we can actually calculate profit at several levels. One is gross profit. It's the sales minus the cost of the item or service that we are providing. At the next level, we have operating profit, where we take out the marketing and administrative costs. And then net profit is where we would take out any one-time expenses. So we can actually see the pro forma P&L, profit and loss, at several different levels. Now we're going to start out by talking about the sales forecast. There's actually a companion set of slides and brief discussion of the sales forecast if you want to dig into this more deeply. But essentially, a sales forecast is nothing but a prediction of the sales that we expect in the future. In our particular example here, we have history, and that's portrayed at the top of the slide. Actual sales of bicycles. And then we have a sales forecast for the next 4 quarters, quarters 5, 6, 7, and 8, based on our history and based on our best estimate of sales of new brands that we're bringing to market. To create the pro forma P&L, the sales forecast is going to become the revenue on the pro forma P&L line. So it is really the starting point for the pro forma P&L. And as you can see here, there's a revenue line. Underneath it, we have rebates. Those are going to be taken directly away from revenue because it's money that we send back to consumers. And then underneath that, we have our costs of the good being sold. So this helps us to create what we call the gross profit. You can see that we have the actual sales, quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those are actual gross profit numbers. Then with the sales forecast that we created and an estimate of rebates and an estimate of cost of goods, we now have a gross profit that we have projected or forecast. The next thing we have to do is add costs for every activity in every quarter that we're going to do to achieve that sales forecast. So, some examples. We're going to have new store openings in quarter 7 that must be paid for in quarter 6. And then we have a store lease expense quarter by quarter, quarter 7 and 8. We're going to create new ads for new brands. Each ad is going to cost us $6,000. We're going to have engineering costs for new product, new brands. And each new brand we bring to market is going to cost us $30,000. These are estimates of our costs. We have to pay for marketing research to keep up with competitors and consumers' judgments of our particular products. And we're going to allocate money for research and development that must be spent to bring new parts to the marketplace to build new brands. And there are other costs that then will be represented on a complete ProForma P&L. You can see the various expense categories here for quarters 5, 6, 7, and 8. You could see the actual expenses down there for quarters 3 and 4. And again, when we put these in and subtract them out from the revenue and from the gross profit, then we come up with an operating profit. And when we take out the one-time expenses, then we have the cumulative net profit for the division. So this is what a pro forma P&L statement will look like. So your challenge is to create a pro forma P&L. And to do that, you're going to use your cash wisely and realistically. You're going to account for every cost, every item that you expect to spend money on. You're going to account for those items that are going to achieve your sales forecast and hopefully a profitable outcome after quarter 8. And all of this needs to be explained by your strategies and by your tactics. This is not a wild guess. This is not just pulling numbers out of the air. Your pro forma P&L should be explainable. Good luck with your particular pro forma P&L.